Hello and welcome to the Mattniverse. Today we're going to further explore HiveSwap Friendsim. Volume 17 is finally upon us. It took a little bit longer than expected, but there really isn't going to be many more volumes. Probably one more, I guess. It's really sad to see it go. I'm very happy to find friends on Alternia, but it seems all that time is coming to an end. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Volume 17 of Teen and Tech, Acerbic. Ah, yes, this is it, fellas. Another night of laughter and camaraderie. Another night of joy and communion with some totally normal teens who would never. Just kidding, idiot. You are still on Alternia. You just know one of these miserable chuckle fucks, that's an interesting name, is around here somewhere, waiting for the exact right moment to inundate you with another disgusting dose of friendship. Who is going to be the author of your destruction on this accursed evening? I guess that's Daraya? I'm not sure I'm going to say that one. And Nikki. One is a teen who looks disinterested in mostly everything. The other one is, looks like a wrestler, really. That one's going to be fun to go to, but yeah, she's definitely disinterested. Oh, this should be fun. Your feet drag as you walk, every limb heavy and slow, and your thoughts are cloudy and dull. Your palm husk is filled with unanswered texts. You feel guilty about this, in the back of your mind where real feelings live crammed together because the front of your mind is too busy being lethargic and numb. Being a bad friend goes against the core tenets of your beliefs, but answering texts just seems like too much effort. You're not sure where this particular malice came from, just that the usual friend-making animus that drives you is still there, but it doesn't feel strong enough to overcome how tired you are of everything else. You can't quite remember how it felt to care that much about companionship and camaraderie. In fact, right now you can't remember how it felt to care about much of anything. Your thoughts drift to fantasies of driving your car in the uninhabited Alternian desert until you run out of fuel, and perhaps letting the sun have its way with you. It could be part of that feeling that you've almost made all the friends there are to make, and that there's little left for you to do on this planet. It could be weeks of trauma catching up and sinking you into depression to protect you from all thinking about... No, mess that up. Depression to protect you from thinking about it all. Either way, it just feels like so much effort to do anything, and you'd sort of welcome oblivion if it showed up right now to offer its sweet embrace. Your listless walking has taken you into a familiar neighborhood. Ah, the cerulean part of town. You smile as you reminisce, sweet memories peeking through like beams of sunlight through the fog of your apathy. There we go. Not far from here is Malik's Hive, with all its hacking equipment and charming upper-middle-class atmosphere of entitlement and complacence mixed with vaguely social-aware concern. And though you've only seen pictures of it on Chitter, you know that Ramil's hipster art studio / Hive is also in the neighborhood. And one block over is Ardada's place, which gave you your gruesome and troublesome introduction to Alternian soil mores. That it did. One taught you love, one taught you patience, one taught you pain, or something like that. Huh. Someone's passed out on the street, and one just stares and doesn't seem to care. That's teens for you. The hive you're closest to is actually L-words, and as you shamble closer, you realize that a lot of other trolls seem to be converging here too. Fishing out your palm husk, you see that the unread message from L-word is an invitation to a party at her place. Looking around you, you feel a flame of your old desire to meet and greet rekindling in your heart. There are plenty of trolls here you haven't met yet, plenty of opportunities for friendship. The now roaring fire in your belly feels a little artificial, like someone just injected you with friend-making hormones to flood out your regular human melancholy. But you're not going to complain because this is vastly preferable. As you're walking briskly towards Elward's hive, you spot a troll lurking in the shadows by Elward's back door. Curious, you approach. And when you get closer, you can spot the jade green in her outfit. Although, there's not much of her blood color in comparison to what most other trolls seem to sport, because she's mostly wearing black, and spikes, and black spikes. There you are. Ugh, it's you. Guess it makes sense you'd be here. You're probably friends with Elward, huh? Whatever. Yeah, you're friends with Elward, but you didn't come here for the party. You're just in the neighborhood. You try to mimic Daraya. I still gonna have trouble with that. Daraya's disaffected slouch. It's not hard, as you can just channel the you from the channel for you from the 60 seconds ago, who was very disaffected indeed. From the approving arch of Daraya's eyebrow, you think you're doing a pretty good job. Yeah, parties are lame. Most parties are anyway. This one might be cool. Elward's pretty cool. I mean, she's alright. That's okay. Don't need to hide it. I don't think she's that cool. I just think her hair and her clothes and personality don't completely suck is all. You tactfully don't comment on the green blush to Daraya's cheeks when she talked about Elward, nor the way she keeps glancing at the door like she's hoping someone will invite her in. She's clearly trying to sneak into this party and doesn't have an invite. When a branch snaps in the bushes, Daraya startles and looks around, shiftfully. You wonder if she's supposed to be out here on her own this far from the caverns at all. I'm not a baby like Wanshi. So what if I snuck out? The cloister rules are so lame. Bronya is so lame. Wow, there's a lot of friend references going on here. Alright, I like it though. I can't believe Elward used to hang out with her, but I guess if she hadn't befriended Bronya, then I never would have met her. It's hard to meet non-Jade Bloods in the caverns. All the time you're underground with nothing but Luci and grubs and some stupid Jades every day. It sucks down there. Daraya's imitation grub horn bracelets clunk as she folds her arms over her chest. Her heavy makeup makes it look like her eyes are twin black holes, where all sense of fun and caring about things might go to die. Seems like it. She's very much of a downer. But it's an interesting trait of a troll I don't think we've actually seen yet. She's giving you a marked contrast from how Bronya talked about the caverns, with the peace and quiet and safety they offered compared to Alternia's surface. And other than that, Lynura nearly killed you in a cave, and that time you were nearly trampled by a rampaging Lucis. You remember liking the caverns. Psh, you would think that. Dunno why I thought you might be cool. You might be friends with Elward, but you're also friends with, Bronya and Lynura. They're the two most boring trolls on this planet. You can't help but feel slightly defensive of your friends. Sure, Lynura is Lynura, but you wouldn't call her boring. And Bronya is very fond of rules, it's true, but she can hang. Whatever. This conversation is dumb. I don't care if you can't get me into the party. Nothing matters anyway. Jesus. Just, this attitude. I don't know. I can't. Just make your stupid choice and get on. How did you know I was gonna make a choice? Look at that. I got a choice. How nice. Thank you. Suggest she goes home or party hard. She wants to go to the party? Let's get into the party. What the hell? It's not your job to keep anyone in line, and it's not like you have a great understanding of why even the older Jade Bloods need to stay underground anyway. If Daraya wants to sneak into parties and get into trouble, who are you to say no? Daraya expresses no pleasure, of course, at your decision to get her into the party. She just shrugs and rolls her eyes. You shrug and roll your eyes back. You can play the role of disaffected teen with the best of them. Well, she's got to be happy somewhere in there, I'm sure. She's gonna meet Elward, maybe. I don't know. You take her around the front door. Hey, you're looking forward to seeing Elward again. When you met her, you didn't have nearly as many friends as you do now. And in retrospect, you know you came off as kind of sympathetic. Or psychopathic. Wrong way of saying that. Definitely opposites. Oh well. Wouldn't it be great if you could introduce Elward to the new, popular, and knowledgeable you? As you're walking up the steps, a huge shadow dwarfs yours. You look up to see Chahut, of all trolls, grinning above you. Oh god. Hello. Well, hey, little one. I remember you. And who was this new little one you've got with you? Chahut switches her interest from you to Daraya. Grinning down at her, Daraya isn't huge for a jade blood or anything, but she seems absurdly tiny with a Chahut looming over her like that. Her face remains impassive and bored, but she scuffs one of her big black boots on the ground and twists one of her spiky bracelets around on her wrist. Cute. Don't see many little jades outside of the caverns. I've always found greenies fascinating, so devoted to the continuation of the species. What a holy mission. Chahut moves slow. Oh god, what is going on? Chahut moves slow and lazily, like she has all in the time in the world and no conceivable reason to rush, and reaches out to pat Daraya's shoulder. She lets her hand linger, one claw resting against Daraya's neck. Ain't it a dangerous proposition to be so far away from your green brothers and sisters? Unless you're hiding something in those pretty veins. A slimy chill runs down your spine. Daraya seems frozen to the spot, staring straight ahead at Chahut's bosom in front of her. You think Chahut is joking, but it can be hard to tell with clowns. Their humor is just so much more highbrow than everybody else's. Just joking. This looks like a good party, even if Elward is too blasphemous for my taste sometimes. See both of you little ones inside. Well, that was an interesting interaction. I kind of thought that she would cut her or kill her or something to see her blood. And then she ambles away, bending down to duck inside the door to the party. You hear party sounds, music, and laughter, and clinking drinks, and what could be the sound of someone being murdered, of course, which qualifies as party noise on this planet. Then the door swings shut again, and you and Daraya look at each other. Daraya's heavy makeup can make it hard to read her expression, but you can still tell that she's rattled. You know what? It looks like this party is filled with lame conformers. Oh, these high bloods that buy into the system and do what they're told, even Elward. We can find something better to do somewhere else. Yeah, to hell with this party. You're down to find your own fun. Especially if that means not putting Daraya in the way of potentially murder-happy clowns. Sounds good. As you saunter away from the party, you realize that Daraya is looking at you expectantly. Well, you've got this reputation for being all unconventional and weird and rebellious. Everyone seems to think that you're like totally fucking with the conventions of society or whatever. So you got any suggestions for cool shit to do? God, you sure feel a lot of pressure to be a quirky since word has spread about your manic pixie dream alien ways. It's not like you're trying to be a vehicle for other characters to project onto. Assisting in character growth and insight for those around you while your impulse decisions and carefree ways somehow keep yourself stagnant and forever unchanged. It just seems to sometimes be like that. Anyway, you're tired. And it's daunting to have a punk teen expecting you to come up with suggestions for cool stuff. You have a feeling she's just going to shoot down whatever you suggest. You rack your brain trying to think of anywhere from your many adventures that Daraya might like. Your think pan comes up with zilch and squat, and she's starting to look bored with you. Oh jeez. Confessing that you can't think of anything is probably an option if you want Daraya to be your friend. And as exhausted and disillusioned as you feel with your societal routine, you like her and you want to bond. Dunno, what do you want to do? Wander the streets like hoodlums. I like that, let's go with that one. Sounds good enough, sounds like something she might do. Maybe. Here's the thing, your weirdest and best adventures have happened to you when you've decided to be spontaneous and just let shit happen. Adventures and coolness are both hard things to plan. So what are you suggesting? That we just wander? Her derisive tone makes you hesitate, but well, yes, that's exactly what you're suggesting. Daraya gives you a long, considering look. You hold your breath. Then she shrugs. Okay, whatever. Sure. Not like I have anything better to do. Let's just go. Okay, this is definitely like a shady place. I'm not sure about that person on the right there with one eye closed. Could be trouble. Never know. You meander through the well-maintained cerulean streets, heading downtown. This seems like a good opportunity to get to know your new potential friend, so you start by asking her some fairly simple questions. How am I? Gee, I don't know. I'm forbidden to leave the stupid caverns, and as a Jade Blood, all I have to look forward to is a life of being forbidden to do things. How do you think I am? Okay. You try to walk that one back a little. It sounds like Daraya is unsatisfied with the Jade Blood setup. That's one way to put it. You could also say that I'm unsatisfied with, like, the whole setup of my species. You've been here for a while now. Don't tell me you haven't noticed that every part of our society is transparent bullshit. You glance around, because Daraya is right. You've been around for a while, and that means you know enough to know that if wrong people overheard this kind of talk, you'd both get cold on the spot. But everyone here seems distracted by their own nonsense. Cautiously, you concede that yeah, you've noticed a certain bullshit aroma. Yep, it all stinks. No one has any kind of real future, except for the highest of the high bloods. And actually, I've heard that things pretty much suck for them too. Some might say that purple bloods are the most disprivileged class of them all. You're just gonna continue to not comment on that one. Instead, you point out that being a Jade Blood, Daraya has a purpose beyond just growing up to become fodder in the Imperial Army. Like you've heard other trolls mention, surely that counts as a real future? Ugh. Don't get me started. Suffice it to say, I'm not exactly hype about the purpose that I supposedly have. More like the purpose that I was arbitrarily assigned to me. But it's not like I have a choice, and rebelling in any sort of real way would put me in danger of being cold. Life here is pretty much just hopeless. Damn. You wish you had a good counter-argument. You want to give her some words of comfort, but what can you even say? Daraya's right. Shit's grim. At least you're honest. Thanks for not bullshitting me. Not a problem. You know, Lynera said you were good to talk to about real stuff. I guess she was right. That's... You're surprised that Lynera is going around talking about you, saying positive things even. But you're more surprised that Daraya is bringing her up in a non-derisive context. You didn't know that Daraya and Lynera were close. Ugh. No, gross. I hate Lynera. And not in a romantic way. Or, well, what? Anyway, never mind. Daraya looks embarrassed and flustered and also pissed at you. At least you've gotten the subject away from how hopeless everything is. But still, you don't want this friendship to sour. As you're scanning your useless brain for a tactful subject change, you're saved by the footsteps of a new troll approaching. Oh, hey! And as luck would have it, you know this troll. It's Tizia's. Which makes sense because your meandering has taken you and Daraya close to Tizia's favorite book hive. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Never mind. I don't even want a need to ask. You're obviously making friends with this Jade Blood. Searching for some dumb shit to do, no doubt. Got me pinned there. Yes. Don't let me keep you. Tizia's looks just as exhausted as you remember. You don't want her to just vent. I was about to say just vent. You want her to go just yet, because it's been a while since you've seen her, and you're always eager for an opportunity to catch up with a friend, especially one of the less murderous ones. Then you notice Daraya's eyes eyeing Tizia's mug of unidentifiable liquid, and an idea occurs to you. You get excited, bouncing a little on the balls of your feet as you introduce Tizia's and Daraya to each other. You explain to Tizias, with a meaningful look that you hope she's interpret correctly, that you and Daraya were just conversing about the more unjust aspects of Alternian society and how hopeless everything seems to be. What do you mean? The more unjust aspects? Does Alternian society have aspects that are not unjust? I'm sweeps into studying our legal system, and I haven't found anything. Daraya makes a muffled sound that could be a laugh. You make your meaningful look more meaningful. Doesn't Tizias remember that conversation she had with you about justice and that shitty system? The importance of possibly futile work to try and improve things someday. Pissing? What? Tizias squints at you, then takes a long slurp from her mug. Right. Yeah, I remember. You wave your hands around. Now you're talking. Tizias is one of the few friends you've made that seemed to not only notice that shit was fucked, but wanted to dedicate herself to unfucking the shit as much as she could. Of course, many of your dear friends try to make the world a little better in various clumsy, interpersonal, distinctively Alternian ways. You think of Chixie striving for her music even when it pits her against Highbloods, the baffling but sweet ways that Kalinol and Azjaha and Kalik and Tagora care for each other, and Fazer's commitment to political— wait, why did you think of that guy? He's a total shill for the contestants. Anyway, Tizias has a big picture mentality. Tizias has a big picture mentality and a cause that she believes in, and the simple fact that she hasn't yet completely given up is inspiring. Daraya is struggling with feelings of despair, or so maybe Tizias can talk to her about the work that she's been doing. What am I? What? No, I'm not struggling. It's whatever. I don't even care. Daraya kicks at the ground sulkingly. Tizias looks her over, her eyes lingering on the jade symbol on her shirt and her spiky black jewelry, then sighs. Sure you don't care. I went through a phase of telling myself that too. I thought it would make it easier to deal. But nah. Tizias pauses for another mug slurp, and you think she might be enjoying the opportunity to monologue a little bit. Daraya huffs. The only thing that helps. And I'm not even sure that helps is the right word for it. I'm finding something to work on in your own little corner. To try and make shit a little less but there's nothing I can do in my corner. It's pointless to pretend otherwise. And that goes for everyone. Like, this whole system is designed to help Highblood stamp out dissent in every corner. One troll can't do anything against something like that. Tizia's eyebrow twitches as she stares at Daraya, clearly peeved about being interrupted. Uh-oh, this could be going better. Well, no shit. What do you take me for? I'm not saying that all it takes is standing up and fighting for what's right, or something stupid like that. That's obviously a surefire way to get cold. Well then, what are you saying? How can you even know whatever piddly little action you're taking will change anything? I can't tell you the future, dumbass. It just sounds weird when she says it that way. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. No one can give you a guarantee that any kind of action taken will be ultimately effective. You have to decide for yourself that it's worth it to try anyway. Why would you think it's worth it when everything around us confirms that nothing will ever change? I can't believe you're calling me a dumbass when that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Tizias looks like she's about ready to throw the contents of her mug in Daraya's face. Knowing trolls, she's probably follow up with the mug itself. This is not the conversation you'd hope for at all. You step in before things can get any more heated. You tell Tizias that you're sorry and that you didn't flag her down just so that her ideas could get shit on. You turn to Daraya, who is staring at both of you with a defiant look on her face, and a stubborn set to her jaw. This kid. She's just so dead set on rebelling against anyone who tries to tell her anything, with even the faintest whiff of authority. You really thought that maybe all the attitude could be channeled into something productive that would also help her feel better and possibly even give her a sense of purpose. You're not mad, just disappointed. Ugh. Don't give me that look, okay? I was just stating my opinion. But I guess I could have been less of a bone bulge about it. Bone bulge? Okay, interesting way to say that. You're pleasantly surprised that Daraya more or less apologized. Tizias looks mollified too. This shit just makes me so angry. Angry and sad and helpless. Like I don't even know what to do with myself when I really have to think about it. Bingo. Unfortunately, I feel the same way. I don't think there's any getting around the helplessness. But what I was trying to say, is that working on something that might help fix things someday makes that feeling a little less powerful. So what you're saying is that it's just about making yourself feel better? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. I believe I'm working on things that might affect change someday, even if I'm not around to see it. But also, yeah, most of the time it helps me sleep at night too. You can tell Daraya is a bit disappointed by this. Like she doesn't trust the political rebellion can go hand in hand with making the rebels feel good about themselves. You point out that whether or not Tizia's feel-goods about her work doesn't make the work itself any less effective. Yeah, in the end the universe doesn't care about how I feel. I'm just one troll trying to do something right. Or at least the okay thing. For its own sake, even if it might ultimately be futile. What the fuck else are we gonna do on this bitch of an Alternia? You got me there. I'm bored all the time, and there really isn't anything cool to do down in the caverns. I guess during the downtime in my training I could, I don't know, help you out maybe. Not that I have anything to offer than the book hive and the jade cloisters. Access to that might really help with my research, actually. Give me your number and we can talk. Is it just your imagination, or does Tizias look a smidgen less tired? The bags under her eyes less baggy and her back a little straighter. And you think the corners of Daraya's lips might be very slightly quirked up. Daraya turns her possibly a smile from Tizias to you. This was cool, I guess. Or at least not so bad. But I don't know if it counts as something cool. So I guess we can keep hanging out until more shit happens. You know Daraya well enough by now to recognize this for the ringing endorsement that it is. You're about to happily agree when Tizias pipes up. I'm just heading home from studying, but I'm not tired yet. If you want a third wheel to drag along. Yeah, sure, why not? Three-way friendship combob victory? Combob? Okay. At least it worked out though, so doing something meaningless and just going out and wandering actually did work. I'm surprised. But yeah, she is very distant to everything. Even if your cause doesn't work, at least you gotta, try something, at least. But I'm glad it worked out in the end. Okay, now, let's see what other things we can do. Suggest she goes home. Thinking about the J-Blood Caverns has got you really missing them. The quiet monotony, the cute little grubs, the dank air and darkness. You can't think of a better place to lie down and have a depression nap. A depression nap? Perhaps even a depression coma. So you straighten up out of your slouch and tell Daraya that regardless of her opinion on Branya and how cool or lame she is, those cloister rules probably exist for a reason, right? Maybe the two of you can go back to the caverns together. Ugh. Fine. Be a goody two-strut pod encasements. I'm going to go somewhere where it's not so lame. Oh, well. Yep, I'm lame. Okay, that was a lot quicker than I was expecting. Alright then. Well, we got one more to try out. Even though I guess we're never gonna go into the party to see L-Word, apparently. That just doesn't seem to happen. That sucks. Oh well. It's pretty fun, though. Well, not being the total downer part, but it's pretty fun. You know, making new friends. Let's see. Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? You tell Daraya that you have no ideas for cool things to do because everything on this planet is lame. But she's from here. Doesn't she know any of the non-lame places to go? Ugh, I told you. I'm stuck underground all the time. It's not my fault that I am literally sheltered and never get to do anything fun. Oops. Maybe this was the wrong approach. She seems pissed at you, but then Daraya sighs loudly and uncrosses her arms from her chest. I do know of one place that's pretty alright, I guess. Better than here, anyway. It's far, though. Not a problem. You've got wheels. You were walking around the neighborhood because, well, you felt lifeless and glum about, and your car needs alien fuel, which you've been reluctant to ask someone how to get because you don't want to be told it runs on grub grease, something like that. But now you have purpose again, and you're more than willing to provide transportation in service of your new friendship goal. You take Daraya to your car parked a few blocks away, and she directs you where to go. You drive through neighborhood after neighborhood, through the yellow blood slums where you met Follicle and Cumprum, the busy urban sector where you had adventures with Tagora, and the austere indigo blood enclave where Galak lives. I just call him Gale, though. He's just Gale. Eventually, the buildings get sparse, and you think about how you were yearning to drive out into the barren landscape and not die, maybe. But stop. Just let it all end. You don't think Daraya would take you all the way out here just for you both to meet some sweet oblivion, but who knows? Trolls can be kinda hard to predict. Just when you think you've reached a point where there can't be any more city or suburbs left, a rubble of massive old buildings comes into view. It looks almost like a miniature version of the main Alternian city that you're used to, except it's all abandoned and mostly ruined. Nothing around here looks inhabitable. Rumor has it that some of these trolls who lived here pissed off the Condescents. Oh. So she culled this whole town. That would have been way back in the day. It's ancient history now. If there were any survivors, I guess they'd be either dead or up in space. Anyway, all these old buildings are kinda sick. There's never anyone else here, and I'm into that. You drive until she tells you to stop in front of a huge, crumbling building. And even though this thing is half gone, you could still tell it's a mall. It seems a bit different from the mall you visited with Polypa, even aside from the fact that it's totally dark and there's no one inside it. It seems more old-fashioned, a lot more like the one of your familiar or Earth malls. Ugh, can't say that for some reason. Every dystopian movie you've ever seen has taught you to be extremely wary of abandoned malls, and you feel pretty nervous as Daraya takes you up the rickety frozen escalator. It's so dark that you can barely see your hand in front of your face. You're trying not to show your fear because you don't want to look like a wuss in front of Daraya, but you can't hold back a whimper when your foot lands on a step that makes a distinctive about to collapse noise. Don't be scared. It's okay. I've climbed all over this place 1,000 times, and anything that isn't already disintegrated is sturdy enough. And there's no risk of coaling out here because, well, everyone's already been cold. She's gentler towards you than you would have expected, given her cynical and spiky demeanor. You swallow your fear as you reach the top of the escalator and tell her that it's chill. You just have some horror movie associations. Daraya turns and pats you stiffly on the arm. You would never tell her this, but her reassuring manner once she's noticed someone in distress kinda reminds you of Branya. It's worth it when you get to the cool part. Come on. Shit continues to be dark for a while. though you see some light up ahead. As you get closer, the hall opens up into a food court, and you see that light is moonlight shining through the mostly absent roof. And Daraya was right. There is something extremely surreal and cool about a decrepit, empty food court with a roof caved in. Rumble sits atop cafeteria tables, and plastic food trays are scattered on the floor, and okay, that might be the remains of a troll skeleton, still wearing a mostly disintegrated fast food uniform, which is less cool and makes you remember that this place is abandoned, because the Condensans sent drones here to murder everyone. You wanna know what the weirdest thing about this mall is? It seems like actual adults used to maybe work here. I've gone through a lot of the stores, and some of them are adult-sized things. And there's a store just like shit the drones bring you now. What? There's a store for just... said that totally wrong the first time I said that. And there's a store just for like shit the drones bring you now. There's army supplies for going off-world too. If this mall was for adults, it must really be fucking ancient. Jeez, has it really been that long since there were any adults on this planet? Even after all your time on Alternia, that still kind of freaks you out. What must that be like, to grow up entirely without adults? To live on a planet that's nothing but kids? Daraya gives you a weird look. What would it even be like to have adults down here too? That sounds way more dangerous and stupid. It's not like we're all wigglers. Trolls have to grow out of that mindset pretty fast. People have responsibilities or whatever the fuck. Or at least they pretend to. And there's training and stuff for Jades. We're basically trapped. Maybe you'd think a planet of kids would mean you could do whatever you want, but I've never had any freedom. And I'll have even less as an adult. Cloistered Jades aren't even allowed to join the Imperial Army. Instead, we get to be shipped off to live in this isolation. We're forbidden to contribute genetic material to the slurry, and not paling is allowed once we mature. For some, I don't know bullshit old-fashioned reason that I pretty much don't understand at all. In Alternia, your whole life is decided the second you're hatched. People tell me all the time that I have it lucky as a Jade blood but I don't feel lucky at all. Oof, yeah. You agree with Daraya that the future she describes sounds bleak as hell, right? It's going to fucking suck. And it's so shitty that I have it good. I mean, at least I don't have certain earthly death in my future, unlike a lot of lowbloods. The system is so fucked up and it's not even gonna change, and I hate it here. I just want a way out of it. Maybe, when you go back to your home planet, you could take me with you? The request comes out of left field, and for a few seconds you just blink at her stupidly. Even with all that angry black makeup around her eyes, she just looks so sad. Sad and lost. You wish you had a different answer to give her, but you tell her that you can't take her back to your planet because you don't know how, when, or if you're ever going home. You've been trying not to contemplate the future. Because of the rare occasions that you do let yourself think about it, existential dread tends to take over. Dread. Yeah, that's the word for it. The older I get, the more I realize how shitty things are. I try not to think about it, just like you. But it still hits home sometimes, and when it does, I don't feel like angry or rebellious. Instead, I feel completely fucking paralyzed. This, too, is a familiar emotion to you. You feel for Daraya, who has wandered over to the middle of the food court and is staring up at the cave-in at the moons. She has her arms wrapped around her middle, and the spiky jewelry and jagged haircut and big black boots don't do anything to make her less small. You wish you knew what to say to make her feel better. You've done a decent job at cheering up dejected trolls in the past, but it's hard when you're feeling so crappy about your own situation. You mutter something about how things could still get better. You never know what the future holds, yada yada yada. And she looks at you like she knows just how hollow your words are. Ugh. You sound just like Branya. Next year you're gonna tell me how important Jade Bloods are, and what an honor all this responsibility is? Give me a break. Optimism is for chumps and losers. Keeping grubs safe doesn't matter. The continuation of our species doesn't matter. Nothing any of us do fucking matters. You feel your blood getting hot to match the steel that's now in her voice. A sick part of you finds this train of thought a lot more viscerally satisfying than trying to cheer her up, which wasn't working anyway. You stomp your feet and so does she. I can't believe anyone bothers trying to carve out a real life on this worthless shithole of a planet. There's no point. We might as well all get cold. In the back of your mind, you know you should maybe be disagreeing with some of this shit, but you're too worked up to care. Maybe Daraya's right. Maybe nothing matters. That's fucking right. Maybe I should just quit. You falter in your righteous fury. Maybe quitting is going a bit too far. Maybe the high bloods that go around causing death and destruction just because they can have the right idea. This is starting to not sound so great. What doesn't sound great about it? Who cares if I decide I don't want to be a caretaker, and instead I just burn shit down for fun? There's no point to anything, so what does it matter? Who cares? Daraya's hands are balled into fists, and her teeth are barred as she glares at you. You open your mouth, maybe to tell her that you care, even though that probably would sound trite, but no words come out. She scoffs and turns away from you and jumps onto the crumbly-looking cafeteria table. You know what? Fuck this. Friendship is as pointless as everything else. She picks up one of the chairs, and you really need to stop being surprised at the strength of even the scrawniest looking trolls, and hurls it at the nearest fast food stall. You thought it was just a random throw at first, but it appears that she was aiming with precision, because it crashes into a tank of fuel connected to the oh god. You're not sure how Alternian cooking technology works, but the stall explodes in a huge green tinged fireball that knocks you on your ass. You watch in horror from your ass level vantage point as the flames lick into the restaurants on either side, explosions happening around the food court like dominoes. Daraya stands in her table in the middle of it, unmoving even as the fire threatens to envelop her. This is probably the only place I actually like on this whole planet. So good riddance. If it's gone, one less thing to care about. With all the dust and debris, the mall is coming down fast around you. You desperately want to get Daraya out of there, but you desperately want to save yourself more, and Daraya doesn't look like she wants to be saved. You make a feeble attempt, going out over to her and trying to grab her around the waist to get her out of here. But she kicks you hard in the chest. Her steel-toed combat boot sends you flying, and it's once again 0 days since you last broke your ribs. As used to this pain as you are, it still takes you a second lying on the floor in agony before you can push yourself to look back up at the food court. A wall of fire now separates you from the tables inside. You can't even see Daraya anymore. Your heart sinks. Maybe she'll come to her senses and pull herself out of the danger and escape through the caved-in roof. Maybe she'll get out of it some other way. You stumble to your feet, half thinking that maybe you can find water or a fire extinguisher in some part of this mall that isn't burned up. But smoke chokes your lungs, and in your panic, your human survival instincts take over. You dash down the escalator as mall infrastructure starts to crumble around you, and you don't want to abandon Daraya, but it's all you can do to get your own sorry self out of there alive. That's a terrible ending. I hate when endings happen like that, but I mean, they are bad endings for a reason. Some do that, and some just kind of leave you in the dust. More or less, they leave you in the dust, but I did like the happy ending better. At least you got to meet Tizias too and talk with her a little bit. Talked with her a little bit more than Chahut, but you don't get much out of Chahut. She talks very interestingly, and she more wants to see your blood than anything else. I still do hope that, even if there is only one volume left, that we get to meet a Sea Dweller. I'm still hoping for that. We haven't seen one at all. This whole entire, trek through Alternia. I guess we'll have to find out, but we still have one more person to go through, so next time I'll go ahead and do her, and we'll see what path that takes. It looks very fuel and anger kind of way, because I mean she's kind of like a wrestler, and she may get angry pretty easily, so it could be interesting, but we'll see. So anyways, thank you for joining me for this adventure. I'll see you guys for the next adventure. Bye.